This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Monday, October 30th, 2006, and this is episode number 172 of Walt Disney World Today. I'm Matt Hochberg from MGMstudios.org. On the show today, we have Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Welcome, Mike.
Boo to you, Matt.
Right back at you, buddy. And we also have Mike Scopa of MousePlanet.com. Welcome, Mike.
Now, as they say, look alive, and we'll continue our little tour, and let's all stay together, please.
I like how we all used Halloween intros, but the show is dealing with Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Well, today we're talking about Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, which will be shown on select nights in November and December. The exact dates will be in the show notes for this episode, so if you want to find out exactly. The cost for the event is $48.94 for adults and $40.42 for children ages 3 through 9. If you purchase in advance, it'll cost you $42.55 for adults and $34.03 for kids. However, on select nights, annual pass holders and Disney Vacation Club members receive an additional 10% off, which will run the price down to about $38.29 for adults and $29.77 for kids. So, with that, Mike Scopa, why don't you give a brief overview to our listeners about what Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party is, for those who are unaware.
Okay, like you had said, Matt, it's a separate ticketed event, and it is run very similar to the process is similar to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. The guests who are not going to be going to the party are asked. Let's just say that the park is closed late afternoon, early evening on those nights which the party is being run, and those guests who have purchased that special ticket will be allowed into the park and will be given a wristband. That wristband will allow you to go on attractions and actually do a few other things. The party has a number of special things going on that everyone needs to know, and also keep in mind that each like there are several shows. There is a parade. There's a special fireworks display. And everybody needs to be aware of the times. One of the things I'd like to point out right before we even start, Matt, is that anybody who's going down, especially for the first time, it's in their best interest to, a day or two before the party, to stop into City Hall on the left side as you come from underneath the train station. Stop in and ask for Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party brochure, and that will give them an opportunity to look and see just exactly what's being offered at the party, and to see what times these special events are being held. Did you want to start talking about each one of the events that's going on?
Yeah, let's start with the events first, because unlike Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, where that really is mostly kind of guide yourself, you do need a good touring convention. We'll talk about it in a little bit. But let's talk about some of the special events that are going on, because for Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, there are a number of special events. I think the big event here is Mickey's 'Twas the Night Before Christmas show, right, Mike?
I agree, Matt. I think that that when people when I've gotten questions, and I think Glenn agrees with me on this, as to how to begin any sort of touring plan in the park for that night, for those parties, what you need to keep in mind right off the bat is that there are going to be shows that are going to be very crowded later on, and you don't want to find yourself rushing from one thing to another. You want to be able to, leisurely go through the park and enjoy everything. Like you said, the 'Twas the Night Before Christmas show is at the Galaxy Palace Theater in Tomorrowland, and usually that show is so popular that there are usually 5 performances every night. Beginning at, I think it's about a 45-minute show, and it begins at 6 o'clock. I think there's one that's around 6:15, 7:15, 8:15, and then there's one at 9:30, and then I think there's usually one around 10:30. And basically, it's the story of 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. It's got all your favorite Disney characters. There's a live band. It's very crowded. I'm not exaggerating when I say that every single performance will normally have standing room only. So that would
absolutely.
be the very first thing to do. And personally, that's the very first thing I do when I go to the party. That's the first thing I do. I go right to Tomorrowland and get that out of the way.
Well, because Len's not here, I have to channel Len's touring plan thought process here. And although I'm getting clouded with images of Pittsburgh Steelers, I will say that Len would, if he was here, he would echo what you said, Mike, in that saying that you need to see, probably the first showing of 'Twas the Night Before Christmas is probably the first thing you should be doing. Because it gets it out of the way. It is the most popular show out there. And it's good. I mean, I saw it last year. It's fun. It's nothing going to blow your mind, but, I think it's a fun time. I think it's definitely worth seeing. And you definitely want to get there early. You want to make sure you can get that. Because once you have that out of your way, Mike, the rest of the special events aren't going to be nearly as crowded as that one, right?
I agree. I think that I would say that the Very Merry Christmas Parade, the early Christmas Parade, is probably going to be a little bit crowded, and I really wouldn't worry about seeing that particular performance. When you think about there are going to be people who would really like to do some attractions, my suggestion is that maybe during the first showing of the parade, that would be a good time to do attractions, especially if you have some children and they want to do some Fantasyland attractions. I would do them right after seeing the 'Twas the Night Before Christmas early show. And, well, wait a minute, I take that back, because if you've got young children, then you want to definitely do the early Christmas parade.
Yeah, no. I think for people who are trying to avoid the crowds, which is, I think, always a good idea, you definitely want to see the 'Twas the Night Before Christmas show, the first one, then start a counterclockwise tour of the Magic Kingdom, and that'll put you in Fantasyland about the time when the first parade is starting up. And by the time you get to Frontierland, you'll be able to see the second parade, which will be significantly less crowded. And the second parade, Mike, is definitely going to be less crowded than the first parade.
Yeah, I've every single time I've gone to the Magic Kingdom, and there has been two parades, like in the past when they have been, I can remember going years ago when there would be two performances for Spectral Magic. The second one would always be the best one, because you had all kinds of breathing room. A lot of the families with the young children were gone, and you're absolutely right, Matt. I think it's usually around 10:30 for that second parade, and most of the children are gone, and so you're right. You can enjoy it. You can really almost wait about maybe 30 minutes before the parade, maybe as close as 15 minutes before the parade to find a spot. But I agree, Frontierland would be a good spot to watch that parade, because most of the guests will hover around Main Street, hover around the castle, because a lot of them like to leave right after that parade.
Yeah, kids can only stay up so late,
Exactly, me too.
One of the other special shows that's going on is the Celebrate the Season show, which happens in front of the castle. Am I the only one who thinks that place is cursed in terms of shows? Because it cursed in that they're all bad. I saw Celebrate the Season last year. Let me tell you, if you see Mickey's 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, you've seen Celebrate the Season.
Pretty close. I think that there is a definite the difference between the two is that I think there's more choreography going on with Celebrate the Season. I think that the 'Twas the Night Before Christmas show is more so for the children, because you've got much more the Fab Five up there. I think that Celebrate the Season is just a little bit more choreography. There's a little bit more dancing going on, and that particular show I like to watch at 12 o'clock at night. I think that's the best way to finish off Mickey's Very Merry, is to see that, and then just leave the park after that, because no matter if it's and there's only 3 of those shows, I believe. There's an early one, there's one right after the fireworks, and then there's one right after the second parade performance. And it's all I remember. I mean, Matt, you probably remember this too. All I remember is just that everything's white up there.
Yeah.
They're all in white, and they're dancing around and stuff, but it's kind of neat. I like it, but I agree that there's like the present show that's there, that was put in place for A Year of a Million Dreams. That one needs some.
They all need some. I mean, even before that, Cinderellabration. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe you have to have a certain kind of taste in those kinds of shows. But I have yet to find one show in front of that castle that really engages me. Let's talk a little bit about the parade, Mike.
Yeah, the parade is pretty cool. It has obviously it's got a real strong Christmas theme. All the floats are designed with Christmas in mind. You've got Santa Claus. It's relatively long. It's I think it's about a 20-minute parade. It's essentially for the kids, as well for the kids and all of us. But I think that it's one of those parades that you can't miss. It's really a special treat. All the cast members are very much into it. The performers in the parade are all dressed up like in Christmas garb. A lot of red, a lot of green, a lot of elves. I enjoy it. I like to watch it from Frontierland.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I remember last year, I don't remember the parade so much as I remember I was sitting, I picked out a spot right where Liberty Square meets right before the bridge over to Main Street over there, or the hub area, and I just remember freezing waiting over there for the. I mean, it can get really cold there, and that's something that certainly you want to keep because this event occurs at night and it's in December. I know it's Florida, but you could very well run into a night where it's really cold down there. So I just remember the parade is good. I enjoyed the parade. I just remember really freezing before the parade started.
Really? Yeah, I think I actually wore jeans that night. I don't think I had my shorts on.
No shorts for you?
Yeah, no shorts, man. No shorts.
My God.
Yeah, but that's a very good. It's a parade, and again, I think it's important to let everybody know again if you're going down and you're going to the party, if you don't have any young children and you really want to take your time, then by all means go to see the second parade.
Speaking of keeping warm and all that, they do give away free hot cocoa and cookies.
Yay.
At select locations, and I remember. I got there are a number of locations. I picked mine up in Liberty Square over there. I guess I spent a lot of time over there for some reason. And I just remember they were just like giving them away like they were going out of style. I mean, they were just giving you like 2 and 3 cups at a time if you wanted it. But it's a great little perk there, and certainly it's free. You really can't turn that down.
I'm not sure is that still being offered this year. I don't recall. I know that they changed a few things with the Not So Scary, so I'm not sure about the hot cocoa. But I got to think that it's a staple that it's always going to be.
I think the hot cocoa will still be there. I mean, they were still giving away the candy at Very Merry, but the free photographs from last year, I'm pretty sure are going to be gone because in Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party, they were not giving away pictures. They were giving away. If you took a photo pass after 8 p.m., you would get 50% off on it, which is still not a great value. And the fact that it was free in years past really just made it that much harder to swallow. And I suspect that the same will be happening this year. Although, Len was never a really big fan of the free photos. He always said that. I mean, everyone's got a digital camera anyway. Just take a digital photo of yourself. He always recommended, if you're going to take a picture of yourself, a great spot, of course, is at the Crystal Palace restaurant with your back to the castle, because it's got great lighting and the holiday decorations will be visible in your photo. So, and of course, you get the nice backdrop of the castle.
Yeah, that's a good spot. Another spot is as you just cross over the bridge into Liberty Square with your back to the castle there. That's a good spot too, because there is the moat around the castle and there's a nice reflection there. So that's another good spot.
For people who are interested in characters, there's a lot of characters who are not only out, but they're dressed in their holiday garb. I remember, Scope, I'm sure you were waiting in that line. There was a huge line to meet Belle for in her Christmas outfit.
Well, I can tell you that Mark Goldhaber will tell you about a moment last year when I was in Fantasyland with Mark and a few friends, and Belle and Beast just happened to be finishing up a character meet and greet, and she came across the street and she said hi to me, and she had this crushed velvet gown on, and I was just blah, 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 so yeah, Belle also has I think there's also during the day there is an attraction in the Magic Kingdom where Belle tells a story. There's some storytelling, and I know that the last several years there has been an attraction during the Christmas show where it's been known like Belle's Enchanted Christmas Storytelling, and that takes place at the Fairy Tale Garden, which is, I believe it's right after. Let me see.
Isn't it right by when you're walking in from the castle area, and you take that path that leads from the castle to Fantasyland, or you could take a right and go to Tomorrowland?
That's right. That's where it is. And there's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that is done 5 times a night, 5 times during the party. So that's something for the families with the young children, especially those who love Belle. That's a very good it's a very good thing. There are a few other things that we have to make sure that we don't forget. And one is that the last 2 years there's been a little Fantasyland holiday hop kind of a thing at I think it's called Fantasy Fair in Fantasyland. Very similar to what they did for the Mickey's Not So Scary when they had Stitch dressed up like Elvis. And there's usually a little dance thing going on there with the little kids. That's a very good time. Also, there has been a Christmas review of some kind at the Diamond Horseshoe in the past. I don't know if that's planned for this year. But that's another thing to keep in mind as well.
Mike Newell, you went last year for the first time, Mike?
Yes, that was my during Mouse Fest.
Yeah, what did you think about it last year?
I went solo, so it was a little hard for me to get into the whole thing with the families. But I just walked around, did some attractions. It was just a solo fest for me. But it was fun. I mean, the place is decorated. It was beautiful. They have the snow coming down on Main Street. It was really neat.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And now, Mike Scopa, can you confirm whether or not the Country Bear Jamboree will be having a special Christmas show like they've been doing in years past?
Well, what I've heard that there was a there was a plan not to convert the Country Bear to the Christmas show, and I have been trying to get confirmation. I have not as yet, but I would guess we would know in the next 2 or 3 weeks if that's the case. It's regardless of whether it's a party or not. I mean, that usually historically that's been converted to the Christmas show from mid-November to like the first week in January every year for the last I don't know how many years. So my thoughts is that it would still be there. I can't see them not doing it, but I haven't gotten confirmation either way.
Wishes will also be changed over. Usually they do this for the special events like Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, and there'll be a special edition of Wishes going on. Will that include usually the fireworks going off, the perimeter fireworks, Mike?
Yeah, the difference between the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party fireworks spectacular and the Not So Scary one is that the Not So Scary one will have 180-degree, if you want to call it perimeter fireworks. The Mickey's Very Merry will have 360, and that will occur usually. I'm glad you mentioned that, Matt, because everyone should I want everyone to realize that just like with Not So Scary, the fireworks are shot off at a certain time. It's not going to be 10 o'clock like everyone is used to. So that's another reason to make sure that you get that brochure. If you don't get it the day or two before you go, make sure you get it that night so you can take note as to when the fireworks are. Usually on the party night, it's usually around 9:15, 9:30 that they'll show the fireworks. And you're right, they do special effects, and it's very important to think about being on Main Street or at least in front of the castle so that you can see all the images that are shown on the castle. And it's really a different kind of effect if you're watching the fireworks from anywhere but in front of the castle. So that's something I can't stress hard enough.
Speaking of that, a mantra of this show is, because of all the special events, you definitely don't want to go to this party assuming that you're going to be riding too many of the normal attractions. I found that the best thing to do is make sure you get all the special Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party events out of the way. So you see, the show in front of the castle, if that's what you're interested in doing. You see Mickey's 'Twas the Night Before Christmas show and the parade, and make sure you do those things. And if you have time at the end, and you've got extra time and you want to go ride, I don't know what, Splash Mountain or whatever, then that's when you squeeze that in, right, Mike?
I agree, Matt. I don't think that there's any fast pass going on during the party, so that's something that everybody needs to keep in mind too. What you can do is, on your way from one event to the other, if you have time and if you happen to pass by an attraction that you like and the queue isn't too bad, then yeah, I would say though you have to be very careful. And here's another little tip that someone passed along to me. because of the special shows, and because that you always have to be aware of the time, it really would be very helpful if you wore a watch in which you had a lighted dial, so you can very easily see what time it is at all, during the night, so you can say, oh, we need to be such and such at such and such a time. That's very, very important. Also, sometimes, I know that a few years ago in Tomorrowland, they had a stage set up, and there was one or two bands that were there playing Christmas music, and they were, if I could steal the phrase, outstanding. If that's the case this year, then I would encourage everybody to go see any kind of musical group that's going to be there, because they're usually very, very good.
I mean, you're paying extra, and it's not for Splash Mountain, so it's important to get your money's worth by doing and seeing the things that are provided there only for Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party nights.
Yeah, even if you just walk.
That's a good point.
Even just walking around, just checking out the decorations, especially along Main Street, it's really nice. They do a really great job.
Absolutely.
On Main Street. Yep. You're going to see some snow on Main Street.
Well, that's it for us today. If you want to find older episodes, read our show notes, or email us, visit the Walt Disney World Today website at www.today.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, and Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.